Sorry about that, y'all. I'm back. Both of them went. I was live on YouTube and on Facebook, and both of them went out at the same time. The devil is busy. Busy, honey. Causing all kind of distractions and problems. I guess YouTube don't want to act right now. I'm just going to continue on. Like I was doing. And let that be that. I'm about to end up uploading this video to YouTube. So, hey, y'all. I'm going to upload this video later to YouTube and to the Pastor's Daughter page on Facebook. Speaking of which, hey, y'all, there's a Delores, the Pastor's Daughter page on Facebook. I'm still putting it together right now, but you're welcome to go and like it and follow. And then Delores, the Pastor's Daughter on YouTube. I usually post all the same stuff, but there's a lot more videos on YouTube. So you're welcome to go over there and check those out at your convenience. Hey, I'm back. I had some technical difficulties. I was live on YouTube and on Facebook, and both of them went out at the very same time. So, I guess it's a Wi-Fi issue. Anyway, I need to keep working. So, on the last stream, I was reading some of the book to you guys. So, I don't even know how much you was able to hear before it got disconnected. Now, let me know if you want to hear some more. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just read this part that I read in my last stream. I'm not sure if it was cut off, but I was reading this first paragraph, and it reads like this. Sunday, August 25th, 2019, was my last time attending my father's church. I felt such guilt and shame for leaving, but staying and allowing his abusive behavior to continue was not a sign of loyalty, dedication, or faith. For me, it was a matter of life and death, and staying was killing me. How far did my obligation as the pastor's daughter go? How much wrong did I have to witness? How broken down would I become before I could choose my health, sanity, and faith over my father? A nearly impossible decision for a little girl. That's how I felt, like a little girl. And in his presence, I was weak. I saw the wrongdoing, but I was powerless to stop it. So that's what I read just before the my live stream, the last live stream went out. Hey Cooperums. I hope you had a wonderful day. What time is it where y'all are? It's 12:33 in Alabama. All right. Keep working. Hey y'all. Just working on some edits for the book. I don't have any edits on this side. Look. The page is clean. I might be making progress, y'all. Yeah, minor edits. So that's a good sign. You know what? Okay, so on this one paragraph, I put a note for myself to possibly add more. I just feel like this one paragraph is lacking just a little. But I'm not even sure I want to make any changes right now. And it reads, this is how I have it, but I feel like it needs more. No one wants to believe that they are giving up just before their breakthrough. That belief, I'm convinced, has kept many people hanging on to things they should have long let go of. But I just feel like this paragraph needs just a little bit more here, just a little bit more meat. It's not complete, but I'm not sure. Let me see what I have just before and just below it. Okay. Hey. Hey, Lonnie. I was live on YouTube too, but I'm still having like some Wi-Fi issues. So, I don't know. Are you guys hearing me okay? Okay, good, good, good. Did you have a good day? I've been working on doing some rewrites for my book. And so it's been like pretty minimal rewrites right now. I'm hoping to have it done by August. But it's just in a couple of weeks. Who knows? I don't know. Oh, good. I'm glad you had a wonderful, well, great day. I'm gonna put extra on. I'm sorry, you had a wonderful day. But I'm glad you had a great day. I was just reading a little bit of the book as I go through. This one paragraph that I was working on, it just seemed like it needed a little bit more meat to it, a little bit more of an explanation. So that's what I was in the middle of, just adding a little bit more to this paragraph. Okay. I'm just gonna let that, we're just gonna let that sit. I have to read back over it later and see if I'm happy with it. But for now, I think I'm just gonna highlight it, so I'll remind myself to just look back over it. Because as long as I keep going back over like the same parts of the book, I'm gonna I feel like changing it, So that's why I say I don't know if I ever really get to a place where I feel like I'm done with it, but I think I'm gonna end up having to force myself to be done with it, just be like, okay, this is a good stopping place. One thing that I was able to realize throughout the writing process is that this is not a one-of. This is a series for sure. This is definitely a book series, because there's no way that I could really capture the whole story of my life as the daughter of a narcissistic pastor, in one book. There's just no way. I tried it and it just didn't work. I mean, it was going to be a really huge book, and I'm not even sure that it would make sense. It's like I almost have to pull information from other perspectives too. So included in the book is not just what I've experienced, but also pieces of the story from other people who felt comfortable enough to tell their side. My fingers don't want to work tonight. Hey, how are you? I've been writing a book, y'all. So I'm just doing some rewrites on it. That's what I'm working on tonight. Y'all had a good day? Okay, okay, okay. I like the way this is reading. Okay, listen to this. I'm going to read a little bit to you guys. Hey, Precious. Hey, Dario. Hi. Hope you guys had a great day. Okay. Let me see. I was just trying to find a spot that I wanted to read to you guys. Just give me a sec. I'll find another spot I wanted to read. Hey. yes, definitely back in here, getting it done. So I was just telling people as they popped in that I have been working on rewrites for the book, and I can't even tell y'all what number rewrite this is. Like I just because this is my first time doing it. I don't really know what I'm doing. I've just, been doing research and trying to study on how to do this, and then on how to write a book, like the best way, the best practices and stuff like that. And then I hired a book editor who a developmental editor who went through and just made sure that everything flowed right, because I don't want to lose anybody in the story by not being as experienced, as I would like to be in writing a book. So I just try to make sure that I got whatever assistance I needed so that, it's clear what the message is in the book. So that's what I'm doing. What are y'all doing? What y'all up to this evening? Well, this morning, basically. It's 12:49 where I am in Alabama. Well, here in Alabama, so you in a different time zone. Let me know where you are. Okay. Number 4. For the most part, I'm really just finding, hey, Precious at work. Yes. Gotta get it. But for the most part, these are they're minor edits. But there's some sections where I like just feel like I need to write just a little bit more just to make it a little more clear, stuff like that. But for the most part, I think this it's a good sign that, you know, I have just minor edits to make on the book. Okay. I say that, and then I just noticed a section where I do have some more major edits. I think I spoke a little too soon. Oh, Lord. Maybe I don't want to add anything right here. Girl, it's juicy. The book is definitely juicy. I was just reading a couple different parts of it as people were popping in. I'm just trying to, this particular part that I was working on, I don't know if it would make sense just to read a portion of it. So let me see. So okay, so let me read this part here. His connection to God and supernatural abilities to do what the average person couldn't do was his get out of jail free card. God was the only authority figure that he appeared to submit to. That's how he garnered his ultimate authority. But I didn't know what these stories of miracles he performed in the 80s and 90s had to do with me leaving. I guess he felt it validated his actions. But in my mind, those stories meant that he should have known better. Besides, I never believed those stories anyway. I heard a YouTuber say that 90% of pastors are narcissistic and abusive. All the signs were there. My father was self-centered and always needed to be the center of attention. He was vain and measured himself based on a flawed sense of self-worth, i.e., physical appearance, intellect, and abilities. He only gave attention and affection when it was in his best interest to do so. He used people and lied to achieve his personal goals. My father appeared compassionate towards people he cared about, but would discard them when they were no longer useful to him. He maintained unrealistic and grandiose aspirations, could not take criticism from others, and never attempted to develop or change any of these behaviors. My father had a sinister side too. He could be calculating, vindictive, and dangerous. He had no limits or boundaries, and there was no stopping him from acting out his rage when he felt that someone had done him wrong, or he perceived a personal slight. This time, he believed that I was doing him wrong, and I personally slighted him. But I wasn't. I'm his daughter. Let me read a little more. I learned early on that I couldn't share my heart with my father, and I couldn't go to him with my hurt. He would add to it, dig his heels in, and I got to the point where I was not trying anymore. He made it my responsibility to make his dreams come true. And though the proverbial goalposts always moved, I had to adjust and comply. He expected me to go along with him, the pastor, the father, whichever hat he wanted to wear, whatever card he wanted to play at the moment. There was rarely a discernible difference. That's just, Part of the book, y'all. I think even as I read it, I don't know, sometimes it doesn't even really feel like it's really like it doesn't really seem like it's my story. It's almost like it's someone else's. Um I don't know, but I think that's probably like a dissociation type of thing, that maybe I just want to separate myself from what I've been through. I don't know. Maybe that's something to talk about too. So what do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that snippet that I read? I think I went a little too far. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm kind of what does Erica Badu say? Well, she said, I'm sensitive about keep in mind I'm an artist, and I'm sensitive about my ish. Mm-mm. See, the way I wrote it is, the part that I read to you it's all centered around, it's like I interjected my comments in with my father's words. Because when I left the church, my father called, and what he did was, he tried to guilt me, coerce me, lie. I mean, threaten. I mean, he just did everything to get me to stay. And honestly, I really just couldn't even believe he was doing it. I couldn't believe the things that he was saying to me. Um, I mean, from condemning me to, telling me that I was going to be possessed by demons. And, it was just unbelievable. The things that he said to me, because I wanted to leave the church. And I wanted to leave his church. Um, So I just, I just really couldn't even believe it. But for the most part, like when he was talking to me, I couldn't even really say anything. I mean, when you have a conversation with a narcissist or a toxic person, there's really nothing you can say. Because maybe you say something, they're gonna try to flip it or twist it or distort it in some type of way. Um, so I just knew better. And besides, it was really nothing more to say. It's like I'm leaving. It's like you can't stop me. You know, he knew he couldn't physically stop me. I'm an adult now. It's like he couldn't slam my leg in the door like he did when I was 5 years old. You know, but he tried in every other way. He tried verbally. He tried smearing my name. Um, he even called my son and was trying to cause division in our relationship. And yeah, he had to lash out because he was losing control. That's exactly it. That's exactly it, Precious. He was losing it. And the thing is he knew he was losing control, long before I even left. He knew that we were all getting tired of his foolishness, of all the games that were being played. And we weren't having it anymore. And so it, like, that really sent him into a tailspin, you know, for a toxic or a narcissist person, a toxic person or a narcissistic person to lose control. Oh man, it sent him into a rage spiral. And the crazy part is that I wasn't even the only one. I wasn't the only one who left, and I wasn't the only one who received this type of treatment. And and some people, you know, got worse than what I did. So that's why, you know, I feel so strongly about speaking out now and putting it in writing. Because I wasn't the only one, and I'm not the only one who's still hurting from what he's done and what he's continuing to do. So that's that. Every time I start talking, I lose my spot. But that's not y'all fault. That's my fault. That's the scatterbrain part. He told me that no other church needs me. Oh, I think that was really hurtful. That was really hurtful. He said, I don't even think you'll be comfortable nowhere with that fire like that. Nobody, you know what I mean? Nobody else needs you like that. This church needs you. Needs you, Pastor said. You're needed. That is emotional manipulation. That is emotional manipulation. That was part of one of the things I talked about the other day when I went live. Oh, thank you, Precious. Thank you. That's what I was telling. You know, even Devontae was saying that he could tell that I was really like going through some things at one point, because he was like, you know, I know it's hard to relive your childhood. And like, even though that was really profound for him to say as a 16-year-old, it hurt a little bit, you know, because I think that we don't want our kids to really like know that struggle. Well, you know, like a healthy parent, you know. I don't want my son to know, or to have a childhood that he wouldn't want to relive, or he wouldn't want to you know, like memories he just wouldn't want to pop up. I have plenty of those. But for him to even have that insight it was a little bit concerning, because I'm like, you know, it just made me think, have I, you know, unknowingly, you know, given him memories, you know, or created memories with him that he'll want to forget, you know? And I have like large chunks of my childhood that I can't remember. And I think it was my brain, you know, trying to block out, you know, the most traumatizing things. But I can't imagine my child having to experience any of the things that I did. So, this stuff is tough. And people just think that you can just grow out of it, you know? That you just, like, you become an adult, you have your own kids, and then everything that you went through is just magically healed, or you just over it. It just doesn't work that way. You just become an adult, and you have your own kids, and you get distracted from the things that you went through. But it's very much a part of your life. It's part of your everyday. It's a part of how you relate to your kids. And really, if you suffer some things in your childhood, the people who are closest to you are the ones that suffer the most because of it. So it, it's for not only me but even generations to follow, because I can already see how my father's behavior, how it affected, me and my siblings, but I can also see it in my nieces and nephews, um my brother's offspring, and I can see how it has impacted my kids. To have that type of insight of not wanting to relive your childhood, it's just it's disappointing. Yeah. What you say, Precious? Trauma. Yeah. Yeah. I just like whole gaps. And like people can, when people like remember stuff from their childhood and they, just recall it, they remember, even like teachers' names and like just simple stuff. I just be thinking like, oh my God, I can't remember any of that stuff. It's like real like whole chunks. And it seems like whole chunks of like years that I can't remember. But I tell you one thing, like writing this book has really triggered memories for sure. So, and I can definitely see why I block things out. Mm. You can do it, Precious. You could totally write a book. Just dictate it into your phone. I have the Google Keep Notes app, and then even like as I'm laying down, like even if I have like a flare, fiber flare or anything like that, I can just write, just talking to your phone. I did a lot of my book that way because I also wanted people to hear it in my voice. And for some reason, like when I write, when I just straight write on a computer, I have a tendency to try to be more academic in my writing. But when you're writing, a book like this is going to be a memoir. So writing this type of writing, is better if you write like you talk. So if you dictate it into your phone, it's pretty much going to be like you talk. So You wrote a poem? Oh my gosh, you need to share that with me. You definitely need to share that. I love that. I was talking about how I started out writing poetry before I got to this. I used to write poetry when I was a kid, and my brothers used to take it and give it to their give it to girls. So I was like that gave me a little boost. I was like, if my writing is good enough to get girls for my brothers, then it's pitiful. But yeah, you could totally do it. See, I've just gotten a little bit too far in the process to dictate now, because if I did, I'd just be dictating like certain words to add in here, there, or just sentences. So it would actually probably end up making me mess up at this point. But for like, if you have like a thought and it's just like, okay, I got to get this thought out, just go ahead and pick up your phone and just start talking into your phone and into a notes app or into Google Docs or something like that, and write your book with your voice. It'd be super, super easy. I love you, friend. Matter of fact, I miss you too. I haven't seen you in forever. And your haircut is so cute. So cute. You know we got birthdays coming up. Aren't you a Leo? We got birthdays coming up, so we definitely gonna have to link up. I thought you aren't you a Leo, Precious? I could have sworn you were. Oh, it's been so long. How are the kiddos? I had to get close. I was trying to read my handwriting. Me and me and one of my other friends were talking about our writing, and in one of my other videos, I confessed that I am like undiagnosed dyslexic, and I have trouble spelling. But it's so funny how she was saying that she has trouble spelling too, but she's a strong writer. It's just like those are one of the things that really make you, well, it made me and it made her doubt her ability to write because we couldn't spell good. It was like, well, how on earth are we good writers but we can't spell worth anything? But like I don't know how that works. But well, see, Lisa Nichols, she writes too, but she doesn't really call herself a writer, and she admits that she's dyslexic, but she's a good writer too. So, but I think she does a lot of, she must speak a lot of her book as well. So I think sometimes we just have to find ways of still getting things done, and but working within like our um issues, I guess. Like working within like our handicaps or our deficiencies. It's just there's always a way to to get things done and not allow those issues to stop us. So, saying, aw, oh, good, you guys are going on a trip. That is great. I'm wishing you all safe travels and a whole bunch of fun. Yeah, I said bunch. I bet y'all are gonna have a blast. That was one thing we didn't get to do this summer. I don't know. It's just like we couldn't all get our schedules together to be able to go on a little family trip this time. But we still talk about like trying to get trying to steal away a weekend and just try to get away. Um, but yeah, self doubt. We were trying to get away at some point. But I think that's one of the things that I learned is that like I can sit here and just be down on myself about um the things that I lack, the abilities that I don't have or that just doesn't quite meet the mark. And but there's always a way to get better. And then if I just don't have that ability to do it myself, or be good at it myself, there's always someone out there who is, and who'd be more than willing to help. So I'm over, being down on myself about my shortcomings, you know? I mean, you can't be perfect at everything, right? Can't be perfect at everything. Let somebody else have some talent. Mm-mm-mm. Hmm. I got my heater on. But sometimes my feet get a little cold, but now it's just getting hot. Mm. What kind of music y'all been listening to lately? I'm all into the Afro beats. Mm. You know what? We do. We do. Isn't your birthday coming up? Why do I feel like your birthday's coming up? I think it is. I know I didn't miss it. I know I didn't. Did I miss it? I didn't miss it. Okay, I thought so. Are you? But I think you're right on the line between a Leo and a Virgo. I think. I think you're a Virgo. You're right there. I'm trying to remember the conversations we had about it because I don't really know the dates. So yeah. I ain't really know the dates. You're a Virgo. My brother's a Virgo. His birthday is August the 31st. Speaking of my brother, the one who's the one whose birthday is in August, he blocks me on social media. Why am I just getting blocked left and right? Why am I getting blocked left and right, y'all? I have not done anything to these people. Exactly, the truth hurt. Exactly. And I actually think that brother, I don't really have any issues with him. There is one that I have issues with. I'm gonna have to do a whole video about that because y'all are just not even gonna believe. Um, he's the one. Well, I consider him to be brainwashed, but we're estranged now too. But I think that the brother who the one who blocks me on social media, I think that he doesn't really want to deal with any of this, like this family drama, you know. And I know that he suffered a lot. Um, he suffered a lot of abuse from my father, and I think that he's not really wanting to like face it, and I don't think he wants to face like what I'm doing either. You know, even like he doesn't have to speak out about it. I'm speaking out about it, but I think that even my speaking out about it makes him uncomfortable, and I think that's why he blocked me on social media. I think he just doesn't want to see it. He doesn't want to face it. He doesn't want to deal with it. And sometimes when it comes to my father, um, sometimes that's the best way to deal with him is just to pretend like you haven't seen or heard anything, you know, because then he's gonna ask you about it, and then you have to face him, you have to face it. If like in his situation, he's the one who he still communicated with my father. So my father would definitely put pressure on him to speak up on his behalf. And so to avoid doing that altogether, I think that my brother just decided to pretend like he doesn't even, I'm just gonna block her and I don't know anything, and that I think that that's how he's handling the situation right now. I have 4 brothers, and we all um, suffered abuse from my father. All of us. But I think what surprises my father is that I'm the one who's speaking out, but I'm the one that I believe that he feels like he didn't abuse me as much as the others. And so I shouldn't be the one speaking out because I didn't get it that bad. I really believe that that's his logic. And I think that he believes that because he started to change like his, he had changed like the physical violence that he was doing. He had changed that, even though he was still doing every other type of abuse there was, because he stopped physically abusing. I believe that he thought that he wasn't that bad, that what he was doing wasn't a big deal because it wasn't physical anymore. And I believe that that is what his logic is now. And because he's claiming, his position as a pastor, then everything else should just be wiped out. Everything else should just be forgiven and forgotten. Some people do better just not addressing or admitting the situation. Exactly. But you know what is sad though? I don't think that he's dealing with it better. Like, ugh. And see, this is like something that I really, really struggle with as I tell my story and as I come out with all of this. It's like, how much of everyone else do I reveal? You know what I'm saying? Like my brothers have issues, a couple of them. And I mean, just like a quick Google search will probably let you know everything you need to know about him. And it'll make a whole lot of sense to you about the spiritual abuse that happened to us. Because my brother is really conflicted spiritually. And if I just told you his name, you would understand what I'm saying. Yeah. And you said, Precious, you said, we convince ourselves that we do. Yeah. That we can just handle it better by just turning a blind eye to it. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I don't think that that was ever an effective way of dealing with stuff, but it's definitely not today, in today's time, because like it's social media, like you could easily keep a secret, and you know what I'm saying, and a person could make you keep a secret, 20 years ago, 30 years ago plus, before all this social media stuff came out, before all the cameras came out, before all these recording devices came out. But now it's like, I could totally prove what you have done to me by simply recording you. That's how it is today. So it's like, why keep the secrets? Because it seems like today is just so much easier to prove them. It's so much easier to prove like all the stuff that people are doing wrong. Just turn your camera on. I mean, we know that doesn't work in some arenas, with like law enforcement and stuff. But for the most part, there's just there's so many ways of just tracking people, and not tracking people, but just like knowing what they do, of having evidence of people doing wrong. It's just so many ways to document things these days. So that's why I tell myself, if he didn't want this stuff out, then he should have never said it. He should have never done any of this, you know? But I think that some people are going to be just angered by the fact that I recorded my father. And I feel, really strongly about it, like it was a bit of a violation. But he recorded himself. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, because he likes the attention, because he craves the attention. Most of the recordings that I have of him are recordings that he did of himself. It's like, so people can be mad at me all day long for recording my father. I recorded the things that he was like, cut the camera, He was like, okay, cut that off. Like, he didn't want anybody to hear that stuff. Okay. We gonna hear it, though. Yep. It's true indeed. It's so many ways of documenting, abuse and stuff now. I recommend anybody pressing record. Just press record. Like, even if, like, I don't think that I would even be upset, like, if my kids recorded me, like, because there were times where I would go off, and I was talking quite reckless. And actually, you know what? One time I recorded myself. I recorded myself acting up. And I listened back to it, and I was like, I sound a lot like my father. That's what I thought to myself. I sound a lot like him. And that was scary to me. Yep. Live our lives in our. I'm assuming you meant in our truth, but yeah, that's exactly it. We can all be just free. I mean, and that is like on any. When you talk about anything, even when people are like wrestling with their sexuality or anything, it's just like, just living our truth is, yeah, it's just living our truth is, it's so freeing. But I'm not even gonna lie about it. I think that this process will be a lot harder for me if my husband wasn't as supportive as he is, because I you know I check a lot of things with him. I check with him on a lot of things. It's like, because growing up the way that I did, I have a lot of insecurities, just things that like I'm self-conscious about, insecure about, have doubts about, and stuff like that. And so I balance these things off of my husband, and I'm just really, really grateful that I have him, and that he is as grounded and as knowledgeable and as wise as he is, and as strong of a man as he is. Because it's really hard for a daughter to face off with her father. And that's what I'm doing here, like, this is really a face off between me and my father. So he's actually like still preaching and posting sermons with hidden messages and innuendo and threats in them. And I listen to him. I feel like I have to. I feel like I have to listen to them, because I need to know where his state of mind is, I need to know what he's thinking. I need to know what he's talking about, if he's getting close to acting out his aggression in a violent way. I had to become in tune with that, with that stuff as a child, I had to I had to be in tune with, like, when my father would start having his, his moments, like his eyes would change, or his mouth would do something different, or his eyebrows would look a little different. It was just signs that I looked for. And so I still do that today. And what's crazy is that, like, when I started posting about him blocking me on social media, I don't really think that people understood what I was really trying to say, because my father watches my videos. Like, he is obsessed with my videos. And so I posted a video that said that I watch his sermons, as he posts them live on Sundays and Wednesdays, right? And I said I watch his videos on those days, and I said, for a couple reasons, right? So one reason was because I want to know what his state of mind is. I want to know, like, what he's talking about. Has he changed, right? Like, is there anything any different? No, there isn't, just to answer your question. But there's nothing different. And also because I want to know where he is, because my father has been very violent. And when he loses control, when he gets angry, he is very violent. And, like, that's a real concern of mine. And so I said, well, when he's on live on Sundays and Wednesdays, at least I know where he is. At least I feel somewhat safe, right? Because I can see him, right? It's not like he's in the bushes waiting somewhere like he said he would be. You know what I'm saying? Like, he said this, like 20 years ago when my mom left him. He said, I'm the type to wait in the bushes for an opportunity, and it stuck with me. Because, and the reason it stuck with me is, even though you could say, like, it's been 20 years, but that's because it's been 20 years since anybody angered him to this point. We've all just been walking on eggshells for this long, So, yeah, he hadn't done anything. He's been pretty, not pretty pleasant, but, like, not as bad. Because we just had to walk on eggshells around him. Everything we did was to please him, to keep him from these angry outbursts. And even in the end, we realized that we could never do enough. We could never do enough. It was always going to be something. He was always going to want more from us, do more. Like, with some people, your sacrifice will never be enough unless you sacrifice your life for this person. Like, literally, die for me. Like that. Some people will never be pleased with all you do for them unless you literally lay your life down for them. And even still, they'll still find a way to be like, well, they should have died for me sooner. It'll always be something. And I know I'm not the only one who has dealt with that. I know I'm not. I can name at least 4 other people. 5 if you include my mother. 4 of my brothers and my mother. That's at least 5 other people who have been impacted by this treatment. That's just my immediate family. Then there's my church family. Then there's my children and my nieces and my nephews. We've all been impacted by this. And then when you start to think about other people, in the world at large, in, possibly any other church. If a YouTuber says that 90% of pastors are narcissistic and abusive. I can just about guarantee you that 100% of those pastors are fathers. So if they're narcissistic and abusing their congregation, what are they doing to their family? What are they doing to their spouse and their kids? And people like to say preachers' kids are the worst ones. I wonder why. I don't wonder why, actually. I know why. I know why some of us got that title. I know why, there was a time that I got that title. I know why there was a time that my siblings got that title of being, a bad preacher's kid. They had no idea what we were going through. No idea. And there just really is no way for a child to really handle those type of conditions in a way that will be pleasing to anyone, that would make sense. But that wasn't the senseless thing. The senseless thing was for all of this violence to be inflicted on children. It's not senseless that I'm speaking up about it now, that I'm having issues over it now, that it affects my relationships with my kids and my husband now. That's the normal part. The not normal part was what he did to us. And that's what we got to address. Period. Mm-hmm. So what y'all think? Getting hot again. Okay. Thank you, Precious. You know what? I will tell you this. One thing that a an abuser does is isolates, and they cause division, and they make you believe that you're the only one who is experiencing what you're experiencing, or what you're experiencing isn't as bad as what other people have experienced. So it means so much to me, and really to anybody who's experienced abuse and neglect or anything like that, to for someone to say that they understand, and that they have that compassion for you and your story. So that means so much to me, for you to say that, Precious. Thank you. I still have these moments, even though I've written, at this point, I've already written 2 books. And even though I have so much that I've written and so many stories and recounts of things, I still have doubt. Like, I still doubt everything. And that's just like, it's crazy to me. It's like, I've included transcripts of my father's own words. These are his words, like word for word, in this book. And I can read over the words, and it's just, I still am just like, I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. Like, I can't believe that this was my life. I can't believe that, this is where we are now. I just, like, I just can't believe it. So it's easy to, when I have these doubts myself, it's easy to, to think that other people will doubt my story, or, you know, or think that maybe part of it is a lie, or all of it is a lie, or, maybe it's not that bad, or it's embellished, or whatever. It'd be easy for me to think that someone else wouldn't believe it, because I have doubts myself. But not because I didn't experience it. I know it's true. I was there, you know. But it's still, it's part of the damage that's been done. It just makes you doubt your reality. And then when he put the religious spin on it, just like, it's either the Lord, wants this, or the Lord forgives this, or this is what's best, or, just putting that religious spin on it, just further messes you up. And I don't think that, a lot of people really understand that stronghold, that grip that it has on you. It'd be easy just to like see me and see like my strength. And then, I have 2 sons, and I'm married, and I've been in the military and retired as a captain, and I have 2 master's degrees, and I've just done all these things. And it's just, then I'm just like, well, was it that bad if I've been able to achieve so much? But then I think that's like part of the gaslighting of it, is to make you think that you have to thank the person for making life hard for you. Because you persevered, somehow you owe the person who gave you a hard time, you know what I'm saying, who made life miserable for you. Like, now I owe you something because I persevered through your crap. That's like that's the lie of it. That's the gaslight of it. No, like, how much more could I have accomplished had I had a supportive father, a pastor who was real, who actually lived the life he preached about, who wasn't preaching in front of people and then going home and beating us. What could have happened? What could I have accomplished in life had I had those things? If I accomplished this much with all that I had to deal with, how much more could I have accomplished? You don't owe a person a thank you or congratulations for making things really, really hard for you and you persevering anyway. No. You're going to be called out for the foolery. You're going to be called out for the mess. I just so happen to persevere. I just so happen to make it through. Thank God. But I'm not thanking my father for that. No. Absolutely not. Because just like I'm doing the work to heal, he can do the work to heal too. I mean, he preaches it every Sunday and Wednesday. When is it going to sink in? When is it actually going to make an impact? When is it actually going to make a change in his life? He has the exact same opportunities that I have. He's still alive. And as long as he has breath in his body, he has the opportunity to make this right. Not with me, because I'm done with him. But he has the opportunity to make it right for himself, I guess. I don't know, child. I don't know. But anyway, I'm still in here trying to get these edits done. Y'all know when I get to talking, then I start losing my spot. And but it's no big deal. Read that. I'm gonna read this part to you guys. And I gotta make this one move, and then because I feel like this sentence would be better right here. What'd you say, Precious? Yes. Recapping some memories can be so surreal. It can. And sometimes, like for instance, when I was telling the story, like I have this video on my YouTube channel, which is Delores, the pastor's daughter. Um, I was talking about tickle torture. I was telling about the first time, my first memory of my father being abusive to me, and that video has gotten like almost 2,000 views on it. And it's like when I retell the story, I was saying that like I can see myself as a little girl, like as I tell the story, I'm just like I'm outside of myself, just looking at the situation, like I don't know, like almost as if I saw it on TV or something, not like it was actually me who experienced it. And so when I retell the story, it's like I can still hear my screams, like it was like I was outside of my body, at the time. I can hear myself scream, and it's the weirdest thing, um, to almost have like that view of your life in that way, to kind of like just be able to place yourself out of that, out of the experience mentally, but just see it like it's almost not even you. It's weird, but it is what it is. Okay, I'm supposed to be moving this sentence, right? And then reading. Mhm. Okay. All right, let me read this. I'm gonna read this to you guys, but I don't know. I don't even know if it's gonna really sound right. Okay. Wait. There's one more change I want to make, and then I'll read it to you. Okay. Okay. I learned early on that I couldn't share my heart with my father, and I couldn't go to him with my hurt. He would add to it, dig his heels in, and I got to a point where I was not trying anymore. But I tried with him. I never gave up. He made it my responsibility to make his dreams come true. And though the proverbial goalposts always moved, I had to adjust and comply. He expected me to go along with him, the pastor, the father, whichever hat he wanted to wear, whatever card he wanted to play at the moment. There was rarely a discernible difference. If being his daughter couldn't encourage him to change, what chance did anyone else have? He prayed for me, invested in me, and helped raise me. I was loyal and supported his dreams, visions, and goals, but But that wasn't enough. Being his daughter didn't shield or protect me. In fact, it gave me a front row seat and a supporting role to his all-pervasive abuse. This authority that Pastor possessed somehow allowed him the unquestioned right to demean, degrade, disregard, criticize, and even ostracize his family and congregants. It gave him the right to chastise, punish, torment, humiliate, and berate, to spiritually, physically, emotionally, financially, verbally, and possibly sexually abuse. A religious narcissist preys on the gullible, the addicted, the afflicted, and the weak, all in the name of Jesus. What y'all think about that? That's how I end this part of the book. It's deep, y'all. Thank you. Thank you, Precious. I'm telling you, it's deep. That's really all I can say about it right now. But you know what though? I think some people are probably gonna be like a little surprised by how much like local stuff is mentioned. Like Heflin and Anniston and some other places that we lived. Because we lived in Germany and we lived in Georgia. We lived in several different places that were mentioned, that my father mentioned, like churches he had in different places. I think it's really going to be interesting to see like all the places that we've been and how everywhere we went, my father set up a church in that place. And it was like some of the times it was like we almost like he almost wore his welcome out in a city, and so we would just leave and go to another one and set up another church there, you know? And it was like I know that that's a thing, you know, that's a thing that some pastors do. Like they have a bad reputation or something to happen, you know, in the city or the church that they're in, and so they'll just be moved to like another church, you know, without, you know, any type of any type of rehabilitation or correction or anything. You know, they just go and they set up shop in another church. And it's like they just take that same behavior and just, you know, inflict it on other people in another city, you know, another state or another country in our situation, because my father first started pastoring in Germany. And so, you know, that's where, you know, a lot of this story takes place in Germany. So I think that's going to be, you know, another interesting aspect of it is just, you know, seeing how some of this stuff happened in foreign countries and some stuff happened, you know, in Heflin and Anniston and, you know, in Savannah, in Augusta. And it's just, you know, it's going to be really interesting for people to see, especially people who knew me when I lived in those places. Like to know that some of this stuff was really happening right under their noses, and you know, and a lot of times it was just so well hidden that no one was the wiser. Excuse me. Hey, y'all. Come in and say hey. Y'all can speak. I'm just in here writing, working on rewrites for my book. I'm hoping that I'll be ready for it to come out in August. That's my goal, but we'll see. I need some help. Who gonna help me write this book? Oh, thank you so much, T. Thank you. Thank you so much. And you say that I ain't got my face on and nothing. Thank you so much. This is like, in fact, this has all been part of like my healing process, because I've always been so self-conscious about my skin, and I have blemishes on my face and, and stuff like that. But I found that it was really like stopping me from, like posting videos and just kind of talking about my experience. So, I was like, you know what, let me just be honest about the skin issues I have and just, you know what I'm saying? Because if I can be honest about it, then maybe I can free myself of the, like the self-consciousness that it puts on me, or the, how it makes me feel, you know. Because I have some issues with it. But I'm getting over it day by day. Exactly. I'm loving it. Loving the skin I'm in. Plus, I've been working on it. I'm just like, you know what? They're just going to have to see me glow up. You know? Because one day this here skin is going to be clear. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. How have you been? How have you been, T? Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Got me here blushing. I'm supposed to be writing and I'm blushing. And when I was really, transition's been rough. But you were like you did 20 years though. I think that I don't know. But I did 5. It was a little bit different. I don't think I was quite ready to let it go. But oh, you mean you don't mean transition from the army. You mean transition with my skin. Yeah. 22 years. Oh my goodness. Wow. So, okay. So, wait. Which one? Okay, Army. Okay. See, I was just in for 5. And I got 6, so I had to get out of there. But, and you know what? I don't even really think I, intended for, to stay in for 20 years, but I definitely intended to stay in longer than I did. I wasn't quite ready to go when I had to go. So, yeah, I was too. Yeah, but that's good. That's the best way. That's the best way to go. Or, yeah, that's the best way to go, right? I don't know. Either way, we don't have to talk about it on here. Some other veterans will get. I have to talk to them privately, hon. Mm-hmm. So, okay, this part. Let me tell you about this part that I'm working on. Now, remember I was telling y'all that I took my father's own conversation and I started to like interject my thoughts into the word, into what he was saying, right? So when I left the church, he told me I couldn't leave. And he gave me all these reasons why, including that I was going to be possessed by demons and that I was, um, all this stuff. I wasn't saved. I didn't have the Holy Ghost. I was going to be cursed and I was going to get sick. And yes, all the same stuff. The military really, really beats your body down. I don't think like a lot of people realize just how much it beats your body down. Yeah, we have to talk about that. But it really does beat your body down. I think there's a lot of things that can be done differently to make the impact not as bad on your body. But, you know, yeah, I feel pretty old too. I ended up getting fibromyalgia when I was in. I talked really openly about, my experience with fibromyalgia and recently diagnosed with lupus. Mm-hmm. And just, you know, it's a thing. Okay, so like I was saying, I was going to read another little part to y'all. Okay. The connection between a father and his daughter can be made before she ever leaves the womb. And once she is born, his impact on her life is immeasurable. That impact shapes her as a little girl. It molds her into the woman that she will become. A father's role in his daughter's life provides the foundation for her self-image and well-being. His presence, or the lack thereof, directly correlates to the qualities in the man she ultimately chooses to love her. A father provides for and protects his daughter. He accepts and respects his daughter. He teaches her the value of her being by treating her like a valuable being. He acknowledges the power that she possesses in her mind and makes her believe that that she can accomplish what she puts in her mind. The confidence that grows within her, he plants and waters it throughout her life. A father facilitates his daughter's emotional growth in large part by how he treats her mother. It serves as proof to a little girl that her daddy lives what he says. He teaches by demonstrating. He exemplifies and personifies God's love. A father can be a powerful demonstration of real, eternal, and unconditional love, and can send a clear message that his daughter is worthy. He teaches her that she can and will succeed and fail, and that both success and failure are necessary for her growth. At least that's what I learned when I did my research on how a father-daughter relationship should be. That wasn't my reality. Our relationship was different. So then I go into another quote from my father. And I go to another quote from my father there. And let me just, I should read one of his quotes. Okay, should I read one of his quotes? Y'all want to hear a quote? I hate fibromyalgia too, precious. I think like anybody I know with fibromyalgia has definitely experienced experienced trauma in their life. It's like a direct link. And I talk about like how my fibromyalgia symptoms were in comparison to how my father's narcissistic symptoms are. Because it's like when you think about all the symptoms of fibromyalgia, right? Nothing makes sense. It's like your body is attacking itself. It's like something internal that's just wreaking havoc inside you, and nothing makes sense. And it's like you can have migraines and then your toe will hurt. You can have back pain and then, jaw pain. You know what I'm saying? It's like stuff that just really seems random, like they don't really go together. You have like digestive issues and then lower back pain or something. It's just like weird stuff. And then I was having blurred vision and TMJ, and I mean it's just like stuff all over the place. But see, that's how it also is with like toxic people and narcissistic people. It's like the stuff that they do and is all over the place. Like their symptoms are all over the place, but the common denominator is that is wreaking havoc inside you. Like it's tearing you up inside. It's like an internal attack within the body, like your body's attacking itself. And that's exactly how it is with a narcissist. It's like it's an attack against the system, against your family system, or against the church itself, but it's coming from the inside, and that's exactly how fibromyalgia is. So that's why I believe that my fibromyalgia is directly linked to the trauma I experienced growing up. And when I went into the military, it somehow triggered. And I believe that's because my life, like I grew up military. And so when I went in myself, So it somehow triggered something. And I don't know. Then I was just sick from like out of nowhere, really. Yeah. And the memory loss is part of it too. But then it's like, is that the fibromyalgia or is that the trauma? You know what I'm saying? It's like, but then the fibromyalgia comes from the trauma. So it all links back to trauma. There's this, yes, like a gas starter. Just like it's just takes over. It's linked. It's linked. And then I started reading this book called The Body Keeps the Score. And it really talks about that the connection between what like your the trauma that you've experienced and any type of health issues that you experience now. It makes that connection between complex PTSD and your body's reaction to that stuff. And it's deep. It's really, really deep. So then it's like I wonder why people are like, you know, you should just be quiet about it and just, work this stuff out in house, Mm-mm. Because it's like this is on a big scale. How many women are suffering from fibromyalgia? And it's like I mean, I know men have fibromyalgia too, but it's really, really common among women. Yes. So it's like everything. It's like head to toe. It attacks the whole system. That's exactly how narcissism is. Head to toe, it attacks the entire system. This stuff is like it's so rampant that there's just I mean it just doesn't make it makes absolutely no sense to just continue to be quiet about it. Who are we helping? The toxic person? That doesn't make sense. Mm, mm, mm. My PTSD said no. It's linked to nerves and pain you feel is real. Yep, 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 yep. It attacks and stresses. Your body fights against itself. Exactly. Your body is fighting against itself. And I'm telling you, when you read the book, you will see exactly how the body was fighting against itself. This stuff is like so deep. So then that brought me to question not really why I have fibromyalgia, but like obviously there was a lesson in it. There was something that I needed to get from it. And that's what I feel like it was with this connection. It's like God is like showing me like this is exactly what's been happening um, with my father in the church and in my family. It's like the body is attacking itself from the inside. Yep, from the inside. It's crazy. And then another thing is that like just before I left, I started noticing that a lot of people were like not a lot, but a handful of other people in the church, like other people who weren't on board with the things that my father was doing. Excuse me. Excuse me. They started getting sick too. They started getting like the same stuff, breathing problems. It was like what I noticed is like it seems like when there is something like not only like physical going on, but something that's also spiritual going on, is like people started getting really sick in their stomach or they start having breathing issues. And they say that the stomach is like your body's second brain. And so it makes sense how your stomach can be attacked and you can start having a lot of digestive and breathing issues when there's things like in the atmosphere that aren't right. It's like that's what happened to me just before all of this stuff was revealed to me. Is I had this really bad GI attack, and it just came out of nowhere, and it was just like it left me like so puzzled, and that I just was like, okay, God, what are you doing here? Like, what do I need to know about this? What are you trying to, you know, teach me in this moment? And that's what I started to realize is like your that gut, that visceral gut pain is trying to tell you something. And sometimes when you have sick attacks like that, especially stuff that doesn't make sense to how you were living your life or anything, 'cause I was eating vegetarian um before, well, it was like loose vegetarian, um but no beef, no pork, any of that stuff, and barely eating any meat. I think I was just only eating fish at the time, and that was even sparingly. Um, and I was doing well, and then all of a sudden, just an attack. Yeah, it's something about it. Even like the acid reflux is something that is not sitting well. Like it's not sitting well in your system. It just, I think it's something that is also spiritual. He was coughing up blood. Oh my God. And acid reflux would feel like a heart attack. Oh my goodness. And then the medicine for that causes even more problems. Wow. Recruiting. It was the stress of it. Okay. So see, that still leads back to like some like a reaction, stress reaction, a trauma reaction, or something like your body is just not sitting right with you. Do you think that was kind of like what you were experiencing? Mm-mm-mm. Wow. Ooh. Wow. Toxic. And toxic environments affect the whole system. Hey, you know what's crazy? More than likely you were working for or had to work with a narcissistic person. These people are everywhere. And I don't think that all narcissists are bad. That's not even like, that I don't even think that. I think that just with like a lot of other things, they they have maladaptive behaviors, and theirs took an extreme turn. It was their own doing, they made that choice, but I don't think that we always deal with things effectively, in ways that are, productive. And I think that, at least with narcissists who have experienced trauma, whose experience comes from trauma, I don't know. I just have like a different place in my heart, I guess, for that type of thing. You know, just for the sensitivity, the empathy of it all. But I have very little sympathy for my actual father, though, because he's a pastor. And I just feel like if anybody is supposed to take advantage of God's healing grace, and it should have been him. He preaches it. But it's not like I don't think it's like I feel like because he preached it, he should have lived it. Um, I mean, I do, but it was like he also like forced it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but he forced it for like selfish reasons. So that's why I think I feel really conflicted about it, because I guess it's not like I don't I don't really think it's like a counselor who needs counseling. Maybe. Hmm. I wonder if that's a thing. Like, if I feel differently because of his profession, like, would I feel that way if it were someone in a different healing profession? I don't know. I don't think I ever really gave it that much thought until now. Yes, me too, but my sympathy caused me to also make excuses for the. Yep, exactly. That sympathy starts working against us. And then before we know it, we've like allowed them the opportunity to do it again, to do whatever they did again. I think that there is like to a way to have like that sympathy, that empathy, and still hold people accountable for what they've done. And I think that's a delicate place for me dealing with my father, because I'm a certified counselor as well. And so like I also, view his situation from, a little bit of that perspective. Not that I'm, diagnosing him or, trying to do any type of counseling, anything with him, because that's not, it's not appropriate. It's not ethical, and I would never do that. But I do look at him from a counseling perspective too. Like, could it could he be saved, or could he be better if he became a narcissist because of the trauma that he experienced? Can he do some type of trauma work and become better? Right? Like, you would think that that would be a thing, like, okay, he became a narcissist because he experienced trauma, right? Maybe. So then if he just gets some healing for his trauma, then he should be able to come out of the narcissism, or he should not be a narcissist anymore. And that just ain't how it works. It just ain't how it works. But that's also hard to that's a hard pill to swallow. Especially because I think that as a little girl, not that I'm a little girl, but when I was a little girl, I really thought that my love for my father would heal him, or would help him to heal, because then he would realize like that, you know, that I love him, that somebody loves him and somebody cares for him, and that, I'm sorry that those things happened to him. And you would think, well, I thought that as long as I remain loyal and dedicated and I stay connected to my father and near him and still just loved on him and, and show him grace and forgave, that it would be better, that he would be better. But that's just not how it works. And even when I watch his sermons on Sundays and Wednesdays, part of me still hopes that he'll say something different, that his sermons will have changed, that he will have seen the light, and then I'll be able to see the difference in his, in him. But week after week, there's no change. In fact, he still, is able to lash out. I could tell he filters himself a little more because he knows that people are watching, because I'm exposing him. But that's the only reason. That's the only reason. He's not changing because, like, we've all walked away from him and told him, like, look, you're toxic and this is not right, and it goes directly against what's in the Bible, and it goes against our boundaries as adult people. You know what I'm saying? It's just like none of that made any difference. So really, I don't know what makes me think anything else will. Because if I wasn't able to make him change as his little girl, what you say, Precious? Oh, what? How much I charge? No, I don't practice. You can talk to me though. I'm a good listener. But I can't give you no actual counseling services, child. Plus, we friends. So, that's the conflict. But I'm here when you need to talk, friend. Okay, am I done with this page? I really want y'all's input on this book, though. I think it'll be really good if it was interactive, because I think that's what I was trying to say earlier, because one of the things that was really what my father did was he isolated us, caused division, but he also was like the go-between, like in the church, things went through him. It was like we didn't really like directly, well, not in the church, we outside of the church we would call each other and talk about stuff, talk about different things that we saw. But like in church, what my father would do was, as soon as service was over, he would shut the lights off, like at the breaker box. Like he was like, okay, everybody has to go. Like, it would literally kick us out of the building while we were, fellowshipping with each other, while we were greeting our neighbor, So what happened was, the service was, we would come in, we have our prayer. I would lead praise and worship because I was a praise and worship leader. So we'd have praise and worship, and then after that we would have offering, and then the sermon, and then the altar call, the altar appeal. And then we would dismiss. Well, what would end up happening is we would do all that, come in, have prayer, have praise and worship, and then my father wanted to do like this little mini concert. So he would call like 4 people up to sing a solo after praise and worship was done. So we would have I never wanted praise and worship to be any more than like 20 minutes. Because really, like, you up there singing for 20 minutes. It doesn't really even need to be that long, like 30 at the most. But it really doesn't need to be long. It really needs to be like 15 minutes. But it really just didn't seem like 15 minutes was ever really enough. So we went a little bit longer than that. And plus, sometimes people would, like my father would pick up the song or my mom would pick up a song, and then we would just stick with it for forever. And then, of course, there was shouting breaks and all that good stuff. But then my father would call up like 4 people to sing a solo. And most of the time he would call these people up like that day. It was like they rarely had a chance to actually like practice and be prepared. But you know what they say in church, like you have to always be prepared. That's like the thing. But in our church, that was really just an excuse for my father to just call you up whenever he wanted to, just at whim, at will, which was inappropriate. You should really give a person, time to practice and to know that, they're going to be coming up. But anyway, so he would do that. And then he would preach for over an hour. And then we would have altar call. And then he would pray, and he would pray loudly over people and tell their business. You know what I'm saying? Like he would say their business all super loud so that everybody in the church could pretty much hear what he was praying for and pretty much what that person was asking him to pray for them. Which is like, it's wrong. And then after that, he would just shut down the power, and we all had to leave. It's just like, well, when do you fellowship? So it's like when people say, like, forsake not the assembling of yourselves. Well, I don't really think that God's intention for us was to just go and listen to the preacher and then leave. It was like we're supposed to actually interact with each other and share ideas and share love with each other. And that is not what we were doing. We weren't allowed to do that. I mean, like, if my father saw us, like, especially the women, if he saw us talking to each other, he would distract us somehow. He would, he would yell out our names or tell us to come here or shut the lights off, or he would do something, but anything to keep us from actually fellowshipping with each other. It was like, it was crazy. And so when I think about like what I'm doing right now in writing the book and speaking up about the issues that I dealt with, I want like interaction, and I want input, and I want help, like, because the whole point was for us to not speak to each other. So none of us are smart about what was happening to us. None of us knew what the other person was dealing with, the lies that he would tell, or, how he would, talk about each of us to the other person. And the whole point was for us never to know what he's doing and who he is. And so that's why I feel like it's important now for us to be interactive in this process when we're talking about, toxicity, when we're talking about narcissistic pastors, when we're talking about spiritual abuse and abuse, period. Because the most powerful weapon that an abuser has is your silence. Your silence. That's their most powerful weapon. And we give them that. We give them that weapon. And they use it. I know he did. So how do y'all feel about that? About the book being really interactive and providing like your thoughts and your feedback, on my writing, and just like not necessarily my writing, but on what I've written, and the stories that I share in the book. Hey, Kilo. I had some more edits to that one part I just read to y'all, but oh well. I read it anyway without the changes. Excuse me. Good night, T. Have a wonderful night. Love you. You definitely will hear more. Sweet dreams, boo. And thank you for tuning in. I'm about to do be a little more consistent and maybe just let you guys know ahead of time. I can't give that type of commitment right now though, but eventually I will be able to. All right. I'm getting hungry. A little snackish. Did I even bring me a snack in here? I think I can have grapes. I got grapes. Hey. Just doing some book edits. All right, y'all. I'm about to log off of here. I don't even know how long I've been on here. Hey. I was just about to log off. I was in here doing some book edits and just read some excerpts from the book and just chit-chatting. But anyway, I'm getting tired and it's about time for a smoke break. So, so I'm out. But I love you, and I'll probably be back on here tomorrow night, burning the midnight oil, making edits, and trying to get this book done by August. So stay tuned. I love you guys. Bye bye for now.